Oranges and lemons. Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clement's. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell of Bow. Here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Okay, and this time I'll try to sing it the way it's supposed to be sung. I'm not a very good singer, but let's see how it goes. Okay? Oranges and lemons. Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clement's. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell of Bow. Here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Now, let's have a look at some of the cultural background to this rhyme. There's a lot of churches mentioned: St. Clement's, St. Martin's, Shoreditch, Stepney and Bow. They all still exist, although they might have been rebuilt, but they're all quite grand churches which you can still go to visit. These churches were very important in their time, and they were the centre of the community. They were the highest buildings around because they all had steeples or towers, and that was partly because the church wanted to impress on the people the importance of the church by being the biggest building and highest building around. Now, they all had steeples or towers. A steeple is pointed and a tower is square. So that's how you tell the difference. And they all had bells in them, and the bells were high up in the steeple or the tower, so that when the bells were rung, they were very big bells, when the bells were rung, they could be heard from a long way away. The bells were used to keep time and also to call people to prayer, and they served other functions like warning or celebration and so on. Now, one of the places here, the Bells of Old Bailey. Now, the Old Bailey was not a church as far as I know. It's always been a court. It's the most important court in the United Kingdom, and all of the biggest trials are held there. So if you committed a murder, then you might have been on trial at the Old Bailey. Now, the significance of bells in this, because at the end of this rhyme you see that it's about being executed, chopping off someone's head. So the significance of the bells is that the church bells were used as a timer. So one of these churches, the bell at the 9 o'clock bell on Monday morning was the signal to begin executions. And so normally if you heard a church bell, it might be something to pay attention to, but if you were the person who was going to be hung, and it was usually being hung, not beheading, then you would not be celebrating that, I think. Now, other things to pay attention to: that the second last line, here comes a candle to light you to bed. Well, that comes from the night before you were going to be executed. The jailer, the prison guards, would come to your cell and announce to you, and carrying a candle to light the way. The prison guard would announce to you and everyone else who was going to be executed that you were going to be executed. And that's where the candle to light you to bed comes from. Now a little bit more on the cultural background. The second and third verses are, you owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's, and when will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. Now, farthings were a coin. They were 1/4 of a penny. And in those days, we had 240 pennies in a pound. So a farthing was the smallest coin. Now, on one side, as with all coins, we had the king or the queen's head, and then on the other side it had a wren. A wren was a small bird, and it's a very small bird for a very small coin. And we stopped using farthings in the 1950s, I think. Now, what's the connection between the farthings, the money, and the Old Bailey? Well, the Old Bailey is a court, like I said, but it was built on the site of a prison, Newgate Prison. Newgate Prison was the prison that was specially used for people who owed money, debtors. It was a debtors' prison. And if you owed money and you could not pay it back, it's possible that you were thrown into Newgate Prison. And Newgate Prison was such a terrible place that it was quite possible that you would never leave. And that's the cultural details that I can think of for this rhyme. I hope you found it interesting.